Hey, it's on. Hi, everybody. What I am doing off camera is I started a one page, and I started it without yous. This is today's one page. We'll get in all this housekeeping in a second. But before that, let's put this up. Ba-bonk. If you have a one-page comic idea that you can put in 1 or 2 sentences, put it here in the chat or in the comments section below this video. Appearance repeat. The comment section below the video is for the people that are watching the video after it was live. So anyhow, there's that. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm going to let you in on a secret for you early birds. I am drawing a left-handed comic. The suggestion is 2 Victorian people debating whether or not they should kiss. Draw it left-handed. I think I actually drew it left-handed. So that's what I'm doing. And, mixed results, but we're doing it. So you can see how hesitant my line is. Now, I used to be ambidextrous pretty evenly. Now I'm pretty solidly right. So anyhow, that's that. But I think I'll finish this sucker tomorrow because it's slow. And I had made a comment that I was going to do a different page today, and which I thought nothing about. I'll do this page on Monday, and I made a note for myself that told me that I said that, and thank goodness for that. So, okay, so anyway, so that's the I'm drawing it in a marker, a fine point permanent marker, and from Beak, and that's So my left-handed comic I'll be doing tomorrow. All right, let's roll through housekeeping. Oh, Jim Lujan's here. Hey, brother. Oh, I don't know if you were here for this, Jim, but I started my left-handed comic. It's very small, but I started drawing with this sucker in my book. So we'll be working on that tomorrow, I think, because I had promised somebody I was going to do something else today. And I forgot that I'd done that. So, okay. So, here we go. I'm going to put this sucker away. Well, before I do that, what do we got to check off out of the book? Let's look at what we did in the weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. I did, I think. We got to go. Okay, I'll tell you about my Denny's adventure. If I forget, somebody bring it up in like 5 minutes. Let's do some housekeeping. All right, I call this housekeeping. It's just like this sort of list of things to do. This is today's page. The suggestion for the title is inspired by my missus. She really likes Madonna. So that's a Madonna song. Gorillaz, Tom York from Radiohead, Tom Waits, Ray Charles, Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin, Joey Ramone from the Ramones, Sato Kano, who's the composer of Cowboy Bebop, Dr. John Cooper Clarke, poet and punk rock, and Dizzy Gillespie. There's a new Hey Man on Wednesday night. Hey, good news. That's good news. And Corey's the guest. Hey, super fun. Okay, so that's today's page. Yesterday's page was Life in a Day. I actually drew this like a year ago. And I didn't get a chance to do anything with it until now. And it was drawn in a portrait style, and I've transferred it over into the landscape style or format, sorry. And happy. So that was yesterday, Sundays. And Saturday's page is a 500 years from now page. And this suggestion was 500 years from now, scientists will try to convince people that rocks are interesting, and that's from Cat and Paste. So I think I'm going to do a few of these 500 years from now things. That was a really interesting question that Jim had asked, and a bunch of people had some fun little ideas. So I think we'll come back to that. And I used the scientist that I had before on the Resurrecting Elvis Presley page. I think that this is my fun, kooky scientist who's constantly shouting, "Science!" Works for me. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better this week than last week. There we go. There's today. This is a whole bunch of mixed media things. All these little pictures for today's thing are drawn on different bits of paper, cardstock, whatnot. Different approaches to it. The Joey Ramones on Post-its, the Tom Yorks on lined paper, the Ray Charles is on graph paper. Like, it's just whatever, whatever I felt like in a moment as I'm sitting doodling. And I just scanned everything and put it on the page. Woohoo! Okay, so let's see. We've got some suggestions. Now, I had said that with all the Kremblers, all that stuff from our last stream on Friday, yeah, I said I'll do that on Monday. And so it's Monday. Let's do it. And then tomorrow I'm going to do the left-handed comic, which is, hold on, I'll click it up. Which is this one. That's our left-handed comic. So that's so far. It's the Victorian people debating whether or not they should kiss. And I draw about a mile an hour with my left hand. About a mile an hour. And I'm not penciling at all because I don't want to even try to convince myself on any level that I could go over the same lines with pen that I just made with pencil, because I'm surprised that I make any lines at all. So we're just going to draw in marker. Woohoo! Some fun suggestions came through today. Got a few more in today from people. I got a 3-word prompt from Didi from last week, and I've got 6-word prompt. Ooh. What am I missing? I'm sorry. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, no. There's a new Hey Man Wednesday night for anybody that might be joining. Corey Carroll will be the guest with Mr. Jim Luhan. And it's not fair, your left hand. I'm going to have to ask you to draw with your toes. Challenge! That's nice of you, Jim. Yeah, star for that one. Yeah, star for that. Look at, I'm throwing the stars out willy-nilly. Okay, so I don't know about this being any good. It's just yeah. So before I forgot to do my last bit of housekeeping here. Let's get rid of this bozo. Here we go. We've got our sponsors, and our sponsors are Bob's House of Fish. We stay open late for the halibut. If you're looking to reel in a really great bite, come on down to Bob's House of Fish at 201 Dundas Street, beautiful London, Ontario. Our other sponsor is Fake Explosion. Fake bands, real music. You think you know music? You know nothing. Fake Explosion, featuring their latest new album by Jose Cabrera. You want to get it? Constipation. Available now online. Check it out on YouTube. All right. Okay, that's it. We got our sponsors done. There we go. I think there's another sponsor coming tomorrow. Yeah, I've left up. I didn't change the title header for. This is episode 76. I still have it saying 75. So a little bit of confusion for the kids at home. I don't know that anybody pays attention to either of those things. But let's just knock that one off anyways and knock this one off. Hey, did you hear that sound? Okay. All right. So yeah, tomorrow will be our left-handed drawing. We'll be continuing this fellow with this hand as opposed to this hand, which is on the opposite side of my body. And today's suggestion is, I'm going to write it on a Post-it. I have to look it up again. Now, what is it? It's the Kremlin overtaking the world. Kremlin. Now, this is a reference to Joshua Kimball. And he went to a convention here in Ontario and in all the literature for it, they misspelled his name, which is, not very cool. So, but kind of funny at the same time, because now he's the Joshua Krimble, which is a kind of a nice little variation on your own name. It's got a secret name. But he has decided that he's going to call people that watch his live streams Kremlin, the Kremlin, secret society of the secret Kremlin society. And I started calling him Kremlinator because I'm very complicated. So we're going to try to figure all that out. Now I'm just making sure I'm looking through all these suggestions, and there's the Kremlin. See, I even write down Kremlinator. There's a suggestion that science will figure out the Luhhan verse in 500 years. I want to do a variation on that, which is science will realize the absolute importance of the Luhhan universe in 500 years. Sad. It's a sad story of art. This thing about the normies out there in society, the society types that don't appreciate us while we're still here. One day they'll sing my praises. Just like that weird guy in New York that had tomes and tomes of his comic stories about kids fighting a big, North and South war. Maybe not quite like that, but you know what I mean. That guy was a lunatic. Today's listening selection is, I'll show it to you in 1 second, just pulling it up. It is Your Favorites. YER, Your Favorites, the actual name of the album. It's The Tragically Hip, which is a big Canadian band. The Canadian band, The Tragically Hip. Very good. Everyone loves them so much. Okay. So, the Kremlin overtaking the world is our suggestion. So, the only thought I'd put into this is... I don't know. I think that I'm going to try to find a picture of Josh Kemble here, and then we'll go from there. But the idea of him ruling an empire in 500 years. This is in 500 years, the Kremlin will be taking over the world. So we'll do the 500 years from now. So I'm going to write that up here at the top. 500 years from now. I'm going to try not to wash out I'm trying to find the best setting for lighting here. Well, that's what we got. Anyways. Okay, so 500 years from now, and then why don't we start? Let's do this. Let's try something different this page. Last couple pages, just to go back to this for un momento, s'il vous plaît. Yesterday is a boxed pattern, right? The day before that is in a boxed pattern, but it actually has gutters as opposed to just being line separations. So guttered page, and then pretty uniform panels for both those pages. And the page before that is a sort of half closed, half open, fully open kind of a page. So between the three, we're trying to do some different things with those pages. So let's try something different yet again. What? Chris, are you crazy? Ha. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the Kremlin, the Kremlinator. And this is the kind of thing that, like, whether people generally get something like this, the trick is when you're doing something specific about a specific person or a specific inside joke or something like that, the more closed off the joke is, the less successful the page is going to be. The more open-ended the text in the page, the jokes are, the more it's accessible for other people. Accessible. It's Monday. Oh yeah, hey, new glasses. Anyways, Nice glasses, 4 eyes. All right, so I want to get a really so people that know the artist Josh Campbell will know if it looks like him or not, and you can chastise me to your heart's content. You don't even look like him. You even know that guy? Huh? You ever watch him play Risk? Huh? Yeah, it's been a challenging month, but we're here, and we're having fun. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're having fun, even if you're at work or working at the garbage dump, throwing in all the things that people should be recycling. I hope that whatever it is you're doing, you're still able to allow your mind to drift off into magical lands of fantasy. Keep it clean. Okay, so all right, so I've got a shot of Josh Campbell that I'm using, and the problem with the shot that I'm using is he doesn't have a beard, and he does have a beard now, but it's the eyes. It's all about them eyeballs. You got to get a person's eyeballs. There's 2 pictures I found of them. One is really tiny, and the other one is apparently really old. So it depends on how fast people can grow beards. I cannot grow a beard. So, you could look at any old picture of me and relatively the same looking old face there. Other people, you can tell what time period it is in their life depending on facial hair or length of hair. When my wife and I met, I had a mustache and my hair curls. Well, and so it would curl at the sides and it would curl at the bottom because this was longer. So I kind of looked like Robin Hood or something, Musketeer. And it was nothing to do with style and everything to do with apathy. There's no call to style for me. I wear a toque because I'm cold. All right, so trying to get his eyes down here, and then we'll see where we go from there. Let's try to put in some of these value changes that happen in the face and around the eyes, because sometimes those values, while it doesn't feel at first like I'm missing it, what am I missing about trying to do a replica or a portrait of a person? And it may just as well be that what you missed was the shading part. As soon as you put a little bit of a value shift in there and you catch some of the ways that light moves around, under their eye socket here, inside their eye socket here, and under their nose, and then it starts coming together as being who they are, right? But generally, the rule is that if you can get it to be, you can generally get their eyeballs to some extent, and you got something there. You got something. You're cooking with something there. It might not be gasoline. So if you like seeing people draw with their left hand, tune in tomorrow as I draw with the wrong hand. I've already seen one done by, I've seen 2 now done by other people. They're left-handed drawings. And it really is hard. It's a really hard thing to do. And I found that the amount of time that I spend drawing is grossly different from this hand to this hand. So one of them there things, that's all. Well, them there things. I had thought about catching up on, there's a thing that some people that I know do on their streams, which is the whole Monday show some books. I was going to do that earlier today, but I just, didn't happen. I think it's largely because when it comes down to it, if let me show you this, and I'll just grab 8 books off the shelf and just point out some things. So it'll end up happening anyways, is what I'm saying. All right, so I think we're getting his eyes in there. And for those that know who he is, right? If you get a chance, check out his channel, Joshua Kemble, not Kremble, like it says. Oopsie, on the postage you can't see. It's Kemble is his name. So, been typing Kremble in for an hour, Chris. I am not responsible for whatever you might find typing in the word Kremble. Hopefully there isn't a thing. All right. Yeah, we had a fun weekend. The Denny story. I meant to tell people the Denny story. So we went to Denny's. Jealous? No. I've been to Denny's before. I went to Denny's with, I think I went there with Lori's parents and Jeff, for some reason, I think the grandkids were with us. Maybe we got a few times. No, I think that was a different, okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've been there before. But what didn't happen before is that where we sat on the other side of the room, and when we sat on the far side, the opposite side, this time, a robot would come out of the kitchen bringing people's food on these trays. I'm going to incorporate robots into this page purposely because of this, by the way. So it's basically, the machine is basically this, and there's a screen at the front, okay, and then as this is the shape of the machine itself, and each of these is a circular shelf. The machine is largely cylindrical, and then there's a brake for the base unit, which is where the internal wheels are. You don't get to see those, but on this back side of it, it says what arrow. It shows arrows for which direction it's going, or it says smile. And then this part is a tablet, and it either has a cat face on it that blinks and smiles and whatever else, looks left, looks right, but or when it stops at its location, it says your food is ready, and then the waitress taps some button on it, and then it drives back to the kitchen once she's taken all the food off of it. It's crazy. So that was really exciting to us, because it's a robot. It's a robot, right? And so because this robot is bringing our food out to us. Oh, the other part is my wife's cousin Jeff, we were meeting him at Denny's. I think he picked it because it was his birthday. So I had mentioned, as we were ordering our food, I just, went, so what's the birthday boy going to get for his food? And then the waitress went, oh, it's your birthday? Wah, ah, ah, ah. So when the robot comes up with our meal, it's singing happy birthday to Lori's 52-year-old cousin. So, yeah, it was an adventure. I have adventures. I don't know how exciting that adventure is, but Jeff liked it, so And we got him a gift card where he could go and get himself something for Bikini Paradise. It's there's these gift cards now that have like 5 or 6 different places on them that you can use the gift card at. And one of them is always outlandish. So he's going to be using the Gulf Store one. But it's just fun. It's all fun. It's all fun until someone loses an eye. Okay. So I haven't drawn him with his beardio, and I'm going to in a second. So the idea behind that is that actually I'm going to change up things just a little bit here. And I'm going to do a couple of fun things, hopefully, that come across. And that is, if you look at the shape in the eyes, it kind of looks like Pac-Man's. These are the shapes that Michelangelo de Buonarroti, he carved into the eyes of the David, and it's 14 feet tall, this David. And in order that when you look up at the eyes, it looks like that there's depth and reflection in those eyes. So he put these little crescent moon shapes in there. And you only see that when you see an up-close image of his face. You can't see the face up close because it's 14 feet up in the air and they don't let you climb it. So I'm going to try to emulate like this is a statue. So we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Okay. So, yeah, so now I'm going to put in the big old beardo. I tend to like to figure out the structure of a face before I just go sticking, the beard on it. All right, so we got some movement on that. So yeah, so I'm going to draw, hopefully, the hair in such a way as to suggest it's like a statue. See how that goes. We'll see how it goes. You'll be like, Chris, how's it look any different now you draw? I don't know. Okay, so this is like a national monument type. That's the idea here. It's hard when you see these big monumental structures and these big homages to leaders past. It's kind of like it's strange because we don't do it anymore. There's no commemoration of individuals for accomplishment. There's, commemoration for everybody for everything. Jim says, I got to step away. I'll be right back. Don't say anything funny until I get back. I will do my best not to say anything funny until you get back, Jim. How about the Maple Leafs, eh? Just do sports talk until Jim gets back. All right. So the debate in my head now is that I think what I'm going to end up doing here is to have I think I'm going to round the top of his hair instead of giving any detail to it. Like so, which is going to slightly alter the way he's looked at, but that's okay. Does it look like him? He doesn't have messy hair. Deep breaths, everybody. Deep, deep breaths. And I will put this here. And so what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put his beard in next, but what I'm going to do in the course of this is to try to make sure that it looks like his head is carved into a side of a mountain. So I'm looking to see if I can find an image of him. With my less than helpful tablet. Okay, so I found a picture of his head. But I want to make him more reminiscent of like a Moses type. So it is going to be a slight variation on how he usually grows his beard. So now the page that I did earlier, you know what I can do is look up. How did I draw him earlier? I did a page recently called it's an alternate universe version of the Artcasters, which is a YouTube chat group that he's one of the individuals from. So see, it's got, if it's too tight on his face, he just looks like a weird Abraham Lincoln. Anyways, we'll get this together. We'll get it together. Okay, so all right, so there's our basic shape. And I'm going to have a promontory here of individuals standing here looking up at the face. That's going to be the gist. But so what we're going to do is we're going to, similar to how I just did this page with rocks, we're playing off the back of that. And so I'm going to be drawing this rock escarpment here that his head is ostensibly carved out of. All right, so I think we got the gist of his face, but now let's get that beard in. I drew, for this page that I was referring to earlier, I drew Josh as a manga guy. So Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got whatever we've got here. So, oh, my robot's beeping at me. All right. That's fine. Okay. So, I want to put little bits and details into the side of the. I should look at Mount Rushmore. That's what I should look at. See what that looks like, and then use that as a foundation for. Yeah. Okay. All right. I got something. I'm gonna draw it. Anyways. Okay. So if I put some of these marks like so, and then have cavities blasted out here, and then what I want to make sure I do is put these vein lines in the rock as it moves around. It's a little random. I realize this, that this is kind of a random way to start a page, is by making a monumental statue of a person. But you got the structure of the face, and then it just becomes a case of altering it to some extent so that it suits whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish with your narrative. Yeah. So I looked at the American National Monument of Mount Rushmore, and we're doing our own rendition of that for this kingdom in 500 years in the future, which is run by the Kremlinator. And then when we put the color in, the lines would be moving across these veins and the lines in the rock. So you get to have those cut across the face. I don't remember. I'm trying to think. I don't know any of the specifics about the carving of Mount Rushmore, but it had to have been extensive. I don't know how many years that would have taken those guys. Quite a few people, I would think. But so this is what I mean by these veins. So as I'm putting these lines in here, the idea is that they would step and carry through. What an extensive project this would have been, though. Which is why I think it's, here we are in 500 years in the future. And of course, somebody is going to carve their own head like a national monument. So maybe what I'll do is I'll think about a second face for this side of the rock, or maybe I should just do the same, his face facing another direction. I don't know. We'll see. I think once the color's in there, you'll be able to tell it's the color and the texture. It's all about that, right? Trying to imply raised edge here. There we go. I think that's working. All right. So I'm curious what people got up to this weekend, and anything exciting they got going on. It's always interesting to me when people are able to share their what they've got happening in their process and their thoughts behind their work. But I'm also really excited to find out when people have got things coming out, or when things are coming together for them on a project or something like that, because it's important we celebrate one another to some extent. All right, so now that I'm going to put the nose in the same kind of a pronounced way give it a little ridge is what I'm talking about, because it's looking up at it. And then the other part is to take out, I took my thing out. And the other part is to take out the lines that I put in for, what would have been his normal face, because we're putting the carving of his beard. How much dynamite did it take to blast his beard into the side of this cliff face? Oh, Jim is back. Hi, Jim. All right, so we've got to put some of these lines in. This is what they would do if it was carved in stone. I'm looking for the picture I drew earlier. So yes. All right, there we go. Yeah. So then the tricky part is going to be, of course, oh, there we are. There, Jim's back. All the funny jokes are going to come out now. So hopefully that's coming across like it's a statue or like it's a carving in the side of a mountain. So the debate is, do I do another face looking this way, or do I have the mountain slope down here? That's what I'm trying to think of right now. That's the big debate that I'm having in my head. So I'm just trying, I'm looking at it not as lines, but as cutting shapes into the shape of the mountain. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Page. Hey, Paul. How are you? So I'm going to do some of this ridge blasting that they were doing, where they were really blasting things kind of like a chisel goes across stone when they were carving this national monument of Mount Rushmore. You say that name correct. That is a national monument. Mount Rushmore. So they blasted across from, it's like it wasn't like they just sort of roughed it all out. It's literally like they started at the top and just tracked their way down. So I'm trying to do that. I wonder if any of the like the machinery that we have today would change the time it took the guy that carved Mount Rushmore to do it. I wonder if there's any way that we could have implemented modern technologies in any way. True story. When I was a kid, I saw a picture of this because family members had gone for a tour of the States and had actually seen Mount Rushmore and showed me the picture of it. All I could think of was, how big would your toothbrush need to be to brush those guys' teeth? Paul Pate had to step away from work because he's surrounded by idiots. Oh, no. I'm not laughing at you. I'm like, oh, geez. But I completely understand sentiment like that. That's for sure. So this is the Kremlinator National Monument Park. Pate. So just putting in some of these little cracks in business here. And then I think that what I've got in mind is for the beard to have two layers to it, like two planes. So we'll see. We'll see how it looks. It might just look like Bonkerville, but we're trying. We're trying. And then the reason I drew this platform in the foreground is because it gives scale. It gives a sense of, holy guacamole, how big is that? Paul works at the Pentagon. Oh, no. We're all in trouble. That's the place where you guys keep your stars. The Pentagon, eh, Paul? I didn't know you were into witchcraft. I might have got that wrong. Okay. Boom. All right, so now if I've got this big cut plane, and then the trick is going to be putting the veins, the different colored veins through the rock. That'll be the trick for me to really sell it as a big mountain, a big rock. Paul said he stopped in on Dee Dee's stream this morning. She has like 1,000 people in her chats. An average 100. An average 100 people. Everybody saying hi to each other. It's really encouraging. Now, they don't all engage in the chat. Many of them are just lurkers, as the term goes. But she's got quite a few. It'd be familiar if I did work there. Nice. Dee Dee is in the industry. Yeah, she's also really talented, and she gives them lots of advice on and lots of ideas that I think a lot of people sort of tune in because she makes it like a sort of tutorial that they all check back up on with each other on it. So okay, so I'm going to put some trees and whatnot on the hill here. Just to start to build up on the fact that my intention is that this is a mountain. Uh-oh. Hey, Christopher Null. Sorry I missed a notification. Welcome aboard, Tori. Hey, Rachel. So I'm going to put in some coniferous trees. A couple of those down here at the bottom. And then a good one growing up the side. Here's a thought. The people that maintain these national monuments, do you think that they actively look at like there's we're going to get that pine down one day, the one that's growing up in the south face, like there's just this sort of objective. Rachel, Paul, Jim, Tori. That is a hand. I don't know. Today she was showing off some off art of some of her followers. She does that every time. She's pretty cool. Well, hello, Rachel, says Mr. Paul Payne. Oh yeah, Bob Ross drawing his famous mountain scene. I started drawing my left-handed comic page too. That's what I'll be doing tomorrow, is doing a left-handed comic page. Okay, so now I've got, I'll put some of this carving from under the chin. So hopefully this will start looking like it's carved out of a mountain. Put a couple cracks in places, maybe that'll help. And we'll draw so we'll just draw this as just to expedite this process. I can't think of another face to put on the side other than another Josh. They do a monumental job, Jim says. That's in response to my people that take care of monuments. You have an ambidextrous advantage over the rest of us when drawing lefty. Yeah, technically, but I haven't, not really, not anymore. I haven't got a consistent line in any way, shape, or form. If I worked at the Pentagon, if I was, no, sorry, it's a Fishbone reference. If I worked at the Pentagon, I'd step out for a smoke right before I ordered a self-strike just to be rid of my idiots. You're idiots. A self-strike. That would go over really well. Then I'd be idiot numero uno. See, that's goal setting right there, folks. It's important we all have goals. So I'm just trying to draw some of the veins in the stone. What? Stone's got veins. Huh? Huh? What? Huh? Paul's back to work. Brace yourself, Paul. Deep breath. And get him. Well, I'm glad that we can be a healthy place for people to step away from idiots at work for a moment. Rachel says, Paul, you'd like to be the only smart one at the Pentagon. Oh, Paul loves us all. I didn't catch that. Paul. Then you'd likely be the only smart one at the Pentagon. Of course you work there in the first place. Just saying. He's there to keep the warmongers at bay. I saw that documentary. What was that called? Dr. Strangelove, and that makes me worry. I think it was a documentary. Jim says, I used to work at the Heptagon. That's where all the hep cats hang out. Hey, all right. Rachel did not accuse me of being ambidextrous. It was anti-mysterious. It's because I got these glasses now and you can see me. You see better because I got glasses. I think that's how it works. I like drawing rocks. I know it's a little weird, but I like drawing me some rocks up. You know what I'm saying, huh? Sometimes I feel like I gotta sit down and draw himself a rock or two. All right. So this is our national monument of the Kremlinator, our illustrious leader. Draw someone with a chin resting on the hand like this. One of those. That would be funny. Oh, I wish I'd done that in the first place. That's so good. I'm gonna bank that for another one because I don't want to go back and do this one now, but it's so good. we'll see. You know what? I'll do another. I'll do like a bronze statue of him in a place that has him doing that. And while drawing this, I'm trying to think of where on this monument could Cary Grant fight some saboteurs or fight some spies. Guess it's important we make sure we got space for a Hitchcock film. There's a secret room up above here in the real Mount Rushmore. Jim says, I know that Paul works for the Pentagon because, as you know, I work for the CIA. Don't tell anyone. Well, I got one up on you there, fella. I work for CSIS, and nobody else even realizes we have a spy agency in Canada, including most Canadians. CSIS? What's CSIS? The weird guys in the suits going through your garbage right now. Hey, don't pay any attention to us, eh? Love the 3 prompts from Dee Dee this morning. Toilets, toasters, and telephones. The 3 T's. That's one step. That's a one-way path to happiness, is those 3 T's. Sounds like a John Hughes movie. Yeah, it would be a John Hughes film. With a hot-looking... I can't think of any of the actors' names. James... who cares? I've already given up. You know, all the young actors that were on those when they still had hair. What time are we at? An hour. There's a lot of concern in the nation about the crack in the chin of our imperious leader. Uh-oh. It's Gary Hodges. Hey, Gary. Hello. After the stream, Christopher, look up Jane Shorten's CSIS. Her dad was my dad's best friend. She's still in hiding. What? Oh, my goodness. That sounds cool. I have a friend that's in CSIS. Shh, shh, shh. What? Shh. There was a really funny TV show here in Canada that I can't remember what it was called, but very briefly there was a show on the air which was making fun of CSIS. It was like behind the scenes of Canadian Spy Agency, and the running joke through the whole thing is every time they come across another international group, they're like, we didn't even know Canada had a spy agency there, eh? Jim's gonna lose it. Jim's gonna snap. Gary, he's saying hi to you. All right. Does this look like a mountain? I don't know. This will make sense in a minute. Still trying to figure out who they're sculpting on the right. Shmoo. Oh, no. Oh, we got a fatal attraction situation going on here, Gary, that you need to address. Hurry up before it turns into a Sharon Stone situation. Yoda in a snowsuit. All right, so I'm going to draw. I'm trying to come up with a spaceship or a hovering. Sort of a helicopter of the future here. CSIS LA and CSIS Miami. Gee, sure is hot here, eh? Well, you think it's hot here, but you should try this spot over there. Well, this is a dry heat, though. Just stop saying that. So what I'm trying to come up with here are little spaceships, little craft that you can tour around in and go and look at the Kremlinator monument. And so if I move them around in different sizes over the mountain, hopefully that'll give you some sense of scale. CSIS Montreal and CSIS Winnipeg. So hopefully, because I've got 3 identifiable scales of this thing clicking around, I'm going to take these goofy landing gear off. It's the future. They don't need landing gear. It's all built inside. But I saw that, extending landing gear on some of the spaceship shows there, like that one, Mr. Spock and Friends, or whatever it's called. Shameless self-promotion and then random question of the day. Pen pose, well, stylist. There we go. All right, Jim, let us have it. Hold on. I'll just do it for you. You don't have to type. Stop typing. There's a new episode of Hey Man, how's your movie going? On Wednesday night, everybody. And the guest is going to be Corey Kerr. Yeah, he typed it anyways. Wednesday night, the next Hey Man, how's your movie going? Guest starring Corey Kerr. Exactly what I just said. It's exactly what I just said. What time? What time, Jim? We need a time. That's what we need. Right? He's going to tell us the time, folks. I just know it. I'm so excited. I wait with nervous anticipation. So we'll draw another one of these little tour future helicopters, whatever the hell we want to call them. Maybe Jim doesn't have a time for Wednesday night. Anyways, Wednesday night. All the cool kids from the back of the bus will be there. Boom, boom, boom. So hopefully that looks a little future space agey. Are you known as Jim Luan on your stream, or have you created a nemesis? It's a good question, Jim. Cesis would like to know the answer to this, eh? Okay, so we got spaceships floating around the environment. And I'm going to ruler. Oh, this is I forgot to show you this. This is the pencils for the page on Friday. I had a ruler. Once I had a ruler, or to say the ruler once had me. Yep, I did. I believe it. I'm pretty sure that was real. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about, where you try to just draw rocks and blah, 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 blah. Random question of the day, number 577. Last week was 377, last Friday. Does Star Wars do TV better than Star Trek does movies? Well, I like Star Trek, but I prefer the TV version. It's a good question, folks. Anybody want to chime in on the random question of the day? All right, so I'm drawing the viewing platform here. You know what I think I might do is actually I'll do this. Woohoo. And then we'll have a little bit of fun here. All right, let's see. Rachel liked Star Trek, but she's preferred the TV version. But Stephen could have handled TV just fine. Who's Stephen? I think Star Wars could have handled TV just fine. Gary says, I think Star Wars TV and Star Trek movies are about equivalent in that neither has really captured the best qualities of their original medium. Jim, it's just Jim Luan, one word, JIMLUJAN is his YouTube. Rachel, I think Star Wars TV and Star Trek movies are about equivalent. Yeah, I don't know about the second part, but definitely the first part, because it's a hit and miss, right? You've got the problem with television and the way storytelling works on television and the expectation of that for the viewer is a whole different level of expectation when it comes to film. There's a different kind of structure for story. There's a different sort of nuance in establishing long payoff format, or even if it's just an episodic thing where each episode is different from the next, there's still beats and rhythms that used to allocate commercials into them, right? You're never going to see a next generation adaptation that captures the spirit of the television show Next Generation. It wouldn't work. It's very particular to a format of television. And depending on which show it is, I think that you're going to see the episodic format take place where you present the conflict in the first, a show's an hour. So in the first 15 or within, 13, whatever the hell for commercials. But in that first bit, you present the conflict in the story, and at the same time, you present the sub-conflict, because there's always got to be, if there's something external that's problematic, there's got to be something internal that's going on. That's how Star Trek works. And so you've got that, and then you've got the next 15 minutes is the sort of raising stakes and the fulfillment of that establishing of everything, right? But then that third quarter is just the whole, everything pays off. It's all the action. It's all the thing. And then the last 15 minutes is the resolution. That's how they always did their Star Trek episodes. How do you do that as a movie? You can't do a TNG movie that's really, truly like the best TNG shows. Never seen a Star Wars show as good as Empire Strikes Back. I know that everybody sings the praises of Empire, but I still say Return of the Jedi all the way. Actually, I still say Star Wars all the way, but everybody sings the praises of Empire. Empire is just the most successful sequel, but I still say in the old school, it's all about Star Wars itself. That just sort of sings for me. Star Wars is big, operatic fantasy at its best, which is hard for TV. Star Trek is little metaphors on a human experience that would seem boring in a movie. They have seemed boring in their movies. And as soon as you make it bigger than that, it becomes a different thing, and it stops being Star Trek. Generations with Kirk and Picard, that's an episode of classic Star Trek that's trying to be a film, and it's completely unsuccessful. That's the flaw in it, is that they're trying to be the TV show, because that's how Kirk does. And that's rough, I think the J.J. Abrams movies are a lot of fun as far as Star Trek films go, but they have nothing to do with the TV show. They are Star Trek, a Star Trek-y version of, like a Star Wars-y version of Star Trek. I like Star Trek when they ran to a part 2. It always ticked off my brother. Almost every part 2 was written by a woman. Gary says that Generations is the same because, in a way, it's the best episode of the show. Women need more words than men. He. I don't know. I think I'm kind of a little verbose. I really enjoyed the first JJ Star Trek, and yeah, it's not at all Star Trek-y. No, it's totally like I wouldn't say it's Star Wars, but it's totally not Star Trek. It's what the Star Wars films or the Star Trek films became in their delivery, and it just capitalized and maximized all of it. So just kind of sad, really. TNG is a very feminine vibe, if people know what I mean, and that's a lot of what I like about it. Yeah, there's it's definitely far more introspective and far more social moral judgment, social moral conscience, right? I mean, far more than the original show. The original show, you definitely had your macho, sexy man factor. And TNG never pulled that off successfully. Never did. I think that there's cool moments, and Worf is cool, and Riker is cool. And Riker, they tried to have Riker moments where he was with whoever on a planet, or Picard fell in love with whoever for an episode. Still not the same. Still, it's very feminine-minded for sure. Well, that was a stellar typo submission. We got the gist of it. We got the gist of it, Rachel. Okay, so here is Mount Crumble. So my idea is to have this as a floating platform. And so, because I thought I got to make this a little more spacey than the last 500 years from now page that I did. So what I'm going to draw here is another piece of the outlook area there. All right, there we go. Happy days. And then the idea is that when I do the coloring of it, I'll put a bridge across and just in color. That was a type of, yeah, very feminine vibe. I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with everybody here. I have watched a really I have watched some of the Star Wars shows, and I don't have Disney Plus, and I never will buy it. It really just pisses me off that the format change is so drastic that the only way you can see anything Star Wars now is by having to buy into this. I hate momentary pay subscriptions. Just can't stand them. And I just cannot buy the Disney Channel because I absolutely detest the majority of Disney television. I really, really hate its influence on American society. So I haven't watched all of The Mandalorian. I haven't even seen the last season, and I probably will not. But I haven't watched any superhero television shows, and I haven't watched, I've watched some of The Mandalorian. As when my son's over, he'd put it on the computer, and so I could watch X amount of episodes. And if he stays overnight, and that's all well and good and fine. But aside from that, it's just not the same. It's a television show. It's like it's a very different vibe to me. So as far as it goes for comparing the Star Wars movies and the Star Wars TV show, I find it, again, because of a format thing, or maybe it's, if anybody can answer this for me, is streaming shows, are they trapped in the same sort of a format that old television shows like The Next Generation and the original Star Trek were? Are they trapped in that same sort of a structure, a four-quarter structure in the telling of stories? Rachel used to watch this with her neighbor. Was ticked when I told him how it would end. First airing, and always tried to click me off with the remote. I loved Andor is one of the few that I've watched. And Andor, because Andor, from everything I saw about it, looked to be Star Wars. Because Star Wars is not about Jedi Knights. That's just one story. It's also not about, Andor works because Andor is about grunts in the field. That's why Rogue One works so well, right? I like the first season or so of Mando, but pretty much all the rest of Star Wars TV isn't my thing. What is the rest of Star Wars? That's Obi-Wan series. Mando season 2 and 3, I guess. Oh, the Boba Fett show. It's the Boba Fett show, kids. I would dream happily of a new Star Wars variety show. And why isn't there a Muppet-style Star Wars show with like Watto or something like that? It's another episode of Watto's Junkyard. Oh, you coming here now? Yeah. Clone Wars, the Rebels, Obi-Wan series, thumbs down. Oh, see, I gotta disagree. Clone Wars and Rebels, that is Star Wars version of Star Trek. Clone Wars and Rebels is Star Wars version of Star Trek. It's the same quarterly format. It's dead on point for its moral lessoning. The only difference is that episodes connect A to B to C to D, and but it's Star Wars version of Star Trek. Just to be 10,000% honest, you don't own TV anymore. You once had the TV. What's really funny to me is when people that are appearing on television shows express to the other people in the show that they don't actually own a television. You want to see some really shocked and somewhat annoyed reactions from the other people on the stage with them. That's always the funniest thing to see. You never had a TV. Oh, so that's why you go over and harangue other people and watch it on there. All right, so I'm going to have I'm drawing a bunch of little stick people here. I left that up there. Drawing some stick people on here, populating this little platform thing as everybody's standing around looking up at the doodly-doo. Yeah, we went a while without a television when I was a kid, but you're caring for his 104-year-old mom, so the TV was on. Oh, I see. Yeah, I can't buy all these streaming services. I just can't do it. And so when my son was showing, and yeah, I'm that pathetic that my kid has to show me how to see it online. That's the only way I'd see the Star Wars shows. And, I don't know. It's tough. When it comes down to the two, I'm Star Wars over Star Trek. And usually that says something about your character, I understand. It's that if you're more optimistic if you're Star Trek over Star Wars, somebody told me once. Probably true. I pushed him out the window. Yeah, I tend to believe that I like the Star Trek more. No, I'm sorry, the Star Wars more. Wouldn't it be fun though? Just for interest's sake, wouldn't it be interesting that if Captain Kirk was in the Star Wars universe? There's people that have done these videos of mashups where the Enterprise is something's coming through a wormhole and it's a bunch of Star Destroyers, and then the starship gets its butt handed to it. But I've always thought that was really interesting to me, the idea of the two of them crossing over and how that would go. you know, just the way that those things would interact, because they're really structurally massively different. So these things here in my head, I'm going to have an extra layer of screen value that goes around here in order to be like a force field to keep people from running off of the doodly-doo here, where they're all looking up at the glorious leader. Just trying to keep it interesting, right? But it also hopefully gives a sense of scale by putting these ships in place and then putting this in place. Hopefully it makes it all come together. All right. I'm going to wrap up in a couple seconds. I just wanted to, and then down here will be, I'm going to have more of these bars, and then of course more people standing over here. What, no long-handled window washer doing the inside of his left nostril? It's a good idea. You come up with the good ideas after. Guy hanging from his eye. Even better, hanging from his nostril, brushing his teeth. Figuring out this is where, yeah, see, that's the door area. And then I got to draw more of the trees and whatnot underneath. Whee! This is a fun one to do. It's just pure, you know, I mean, and I don't mean like the whole page. I mean the first panel. Sometimes the first panels you're trying to establish identifiable things. With this narratively, I'm sorry. With this page, I'm establishing purely world context. And so what that frees me up for is really thinking of some of that structural narrative and some of those questions along the way, because it's a case of just here's a scene, here's all kinds of information in it, and if that doesn't draw you into that world, I don't know what will. Great. Oh, well, thank you. I got a lot of practice drawing mountains and outdoors in the 24-page book, the Sasquatch book that I did last year for Tardigrade Press. I really spent some time trying to figure out how do I draw rock faces and things like that. So sometimes those opportunities, those jobs will force you to grow in certain ways. So when I color this, I'm going to screen out, like I'm going to diffuse this area a little bit here for the trees as I draw them in. And that's largely because I want to show more prominence to what's in our foreground and blur out some of this space in here, and then have this guy move up, but have this push back a little bit, just diffuse the values so that the focus is on the right place, which is our foreground. That's my thinking anyways. What time are we at? I gotta keep track of time today because where are we at? 1:35. 5 more minutes, and then I think I'm gonna sign out. Is there anybody that doesn't like Star Wars or Star Trek at all? I tend to lean heavily towards the Star Wars aesthetic, but that's largely because that grittiness of it, that realistic, everything's dirty and people are scrambling for whatever they're scrambling for. And aside from the magic logic of Star Wars plots, the whole notion of this couple of people desperately trying to go and save somebody that's in this dire situation, and in the course of those actions gets involved in a larger conflict, I think that's fun. But the idea, if we're going to go to this place and do all of those things, that's never connected to me. All right. Although I think that most people in Star Wars would have their clothing ripped like Captain Kirk if they got in fights like that. Da, 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 da. You only saw the first Star Wars movie, Rachel? You did. That's the one you should see. If you're going to catch any of those, that's the one. My favorite sci-fi movie, even though I own the Ewok movies and the Clone Wars show and the Star Wars movies, all of them, even the one that I've got taped up that no one is ever allowed to watch in my house, number 9. I got the Solo, the Rogue One, etc. I even got the Ewok movies. My favorite's still the original Star Wars, but it's still not my favorite sci-fi movie. I really enjoy 2001 and 2010 both. I think that those are wonderful films, and I think that 2010 is possibly the only. That's the whole Dr. Sleep that followed The Shining. It's junk. There's just so many ridiculous things. He's trying to make too many cooks happy. He's trying to give it to the fans that really enjoyed the Kubrick adaptation of it, but then he's trying to keep Stephen King happy too, and it just doesn't work. But the 2010 movie that followed, it was the sequel book. It's wonderful. It's its own fun and interesting film, and it has all kinds of quality to it. And John Lithgow. All right. Well, I'm feeling good about this first part of the image. Well, I still got to finish the bottom line of it, and then I'm leaving space here because panels are going to cut across the face of it. But we're going to get into the narrative. The title's going to sit here, and then we're going to get into the narrative over here like so. It's going to be very exciting. Very, very exciting. But I think I'm going to sign off for today just because I got to go and check the old glucose level there. I hope everybody's had a good weekend, and I hope everybody has a good start to their week. Rachel has been sending me a bunch of the 3-word prompts that she's been working on. That she got 3 words prompted to her from Dee Dee's thing, and they're looking really cool. If anybody else has got stuff they're working on, I love the sharing of it. I really appreciate that when people are let me know what you're posting. I'm trying to. Problem with my posting feed is because it's just all the people I follow, and I have really got to sit down and spend some time and just having the ones that I engage with in the world. I can never see everybody's things because it's just this cacophony of everybody putting everything out. So I do my best. I try specifically to find things, but if there's something that you've done that you want to share, please by all means feel free to send me a picture, send me a link. I love it. I love seeing what each of us are doing. I'm not saying like send me the thing and I'll critique it. I'm not going to hate people that do that, but I really do. But yeah, I'd love to see what people are working on. Okay, so Wednesday night, Wednesday morning is Dee Dee. Wednesday night is Jim. Gary will be Saturday, I think. If anybody else is posting or got any posting times, let us know and we'll get that out. If I can't get it out today, I'll get it out tomorrow. And otherwise, tomorrow I will be drawing with my left hand, which sounds ridiculous. But one of the suggestions is from Jim about a Victorian couple deciding if they should kiss, and that I'm to draw it with my weaker hand. So buckle up. That's what we're doing tomorrow. All right. And then I'll have this page posted for tomorrow as well. Thank you for everybody for hanging out and spending some time together and engaging with one another. It's super cool, super keen. In the meantime, I'm going to sign off for now. Thanks very much for hanging out. Bye. We'll see you tomorrow. Maybe, if you can. 2:00.